Well, hi friends, it's good to be back with you, Jeff Hopper and Greg Hurley, and we hope that you have been learning a lot in the first 3 lessons of our study, Faith in the Arenas of Life. A lot of scriptures to look at, a lot of discussion to have, a lot of things to think about, I'm sure. But certainly if you've gone deeply in those first 3, Christ is King, part 1 and 2, and then Faith Infused, you may well be saying to yourself, I think I know that this is what I need to do. I need to infuse my faith into the rest of my life. And if you're at that point, then I think you're going to appreciate as we go forward looking at some of these other specific arenas that are based on some of the C's from Greg's original white paper. And in the 4th lesson, which has to do with our career, we talk about that second C, which is the career. How, Greg, do you see people, and as a certified financial planner, you're talking to people about career and what it produces for them all the time. But how have you seen career get in the way of a meaningful life for people?
Yeah, I think sometimes, and this is what happened for me, it just becomes their God. You know, invariably when we meet someone for the first time, we always ask, what do you do? I don't know where that came from, but it's there, you know. So what comes forth from that, I think, looking back, is like, well, how can I answer that question the best, you know? You know, people try to pigeonhole you into what you do and then how much you make and where you live and all those types of things. And I think as a society, there's such a current, because we're constantly reminded, you know, work hard, play hard, you deserve it. All these things are drilled into our life and our mind through advertisers, billboards, everything. That career really becomes the king for a lot of us, and it was for me. And we can justify it because we get buy-in. We get buy-ins from our spouse that wants a bigger house. Not that that's a bad thing, and God doesn't want you to flourish, but I just think it's the little nuances, I think, in life. And then, you know, pretty soon, you know it, and this has happened to one of our Lynx players, Tuna Man. He says, you know, one day he came home and his daughter was 12, and he barely recognized her, you know, and he started pointing at me when I just first met him, and literally like, Greg, spend time with your kids. And he didn't even know I wrote the white paper or any of this stuff. You know, so I think what happened to me when I started interviewing most of these guys that were over 50, very financially successful, is that whether they said it or not, I could see that career had run their lives instead of God running their lives. And that was something I didn't want to happen to me. Because what I had seen and through the research and everything is that even if they hit the ball out of the park or birdied, you know, every hole they played, theoretically, you know, is that the fulfillment that they got by achieving that wasn't like the fulfillment of knowing God and knowing Christ as Lord.
Yeah. Well, of course, if you birdied every hole, that would be awesome. But it means that really all you're doing is playing golf. And there's a lot more to life than that. Scripture talks about a balance. One of the balances is you need to provide for your family's needs, but you also need to maintain this healthy perspective on your work and those kinds of things. How do you strike that balance?
Yeah, no, that's you know, that's the tough thing. Balance and you know, we call it rhythm, is really something that has been talked about for years. It seems women, as they've entered the workforce more and more since the 60s and 70s, they've been struggling this for a while. And more now men, instead of just coming home 9 to 5, dropping off the bookcase or the briefcase and, you know, patting little Johnny on the head. Now we're more infused into helping our wives and being a part of raising our kids and flexible work hours and those types of things. And I think really the best, you know, the best rhythm is, and the best balance is, you know, spending more time with God, which I think a lot of us don't do, and I wasn't doing. You know, they talk about, I don't know why it is, 15 minutes, you know, a day. You think of Tiger Woods redoing his whole swing, and you know, Sean Foley saying, okay, you're just going to spend 15 minutes a day doing it. I mean, this is Christ, this is God, this is, I mean, this is our most important relationship, and we're putting career ahead of him more times than not. And the thing is, you hit fast forward on that, and it won't give you the fulfillment, and you'll look back with regrets. And that's what I saw in a lot of people's eyes when I was interviewing them. And I didn't want it to happen to me, and I didn't want it to happen to those that I could share it with.
Yeah. In another one of our video series on calling, we talk about a man who is known to be the best in the world at what he does, and yet he admits that he worked so much that when he would sleep in on Sunday morning and actually be there when his young sons awoke, they would go to their mom and say, "Who is this stranger in our house?" And obviously that's just
Scary.
so far from the kind of balance that we're talking about.
Right.
And yet, like you said, people affirm that. Oh, you're making this much money, you're driving that car, you're living in this house,
Yeah.
all of those things, and we do have to be so careful with that.
Right. I mean, I've spent some time in cemeteries. I don't know why. I just like it, And you never see a tombstone that says, Greg Hurley, great CEO. Greg Hurley, great certified financial planner. It's always loving husband, caring father, those types of things. And those are the types of things that we should focus on.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, thank you all, and we are hopeful that this lesson has been very, very meaningful to you as you go forward and look at the scriptures and those kinds of things as well, that it will empower you to strike that balance in your life.